Lancaster was the very first area to send Ohio volunteers to the Civil War.
Why did they volunteer? Because Lincoln, after the firing on Fort Sumter, asked for 30,000 volunteers, and he just asked for 3 months. And so, I can give you 3 months, because everybody thought the war would be over by then. Of course, it went on for 4 years.
Lancaster, however, was a divided community because it had been settled probably close to 50-50 from southern-leaning states who, favored the Confederacy.
And the people that came in here came from 3 different states predominantly: Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, and some from Kentucky. Now, 2 of these 3 states were slave states, and when the people came in, they brought their value system with them.
That had happened early enough, even before the Civil War, that Lincoln did not carry this county both times that he was elected. He carried Ohio, but not Fairfield County.
2 different newspapers evolved eventually, and one of them was even in German.
The Republican Gazette was all for abolition of slavery, but they didn't want that to split the country. We still had to have one nation. On the Democratic side, they wanted to split the country and continue slavery, so it was very clear-cut.
They had a battle of words every day. On a few occasions, it came to blows. One group would throw the other group's type out into the street. One group might start a fire, but that was unusual. It was mostly a war of words.
They did not turn against each other, but these newspapers were very much involved with what was going on in Washington. General Sherman, he lived here till the age of 16 as a child. His father passed away when he was only 9 years old, and he moved next door to the Ewing family residence. Thomas Ewing, who became a U.S. Senator, sent Sherman to West Point because his father named him William Tecumseh Sherman, and thinking that, well, maybe he wanted him to become a great warrior like Tecumseh.
When he left West Point, he was stationed in quite a few places in the South because he was a lieutenant. And so he was invited to the fancy places, the plantation homes. So he didn't see the bad side of slavery. He saw domestic slaves, and they were almost like part of the family, in many situations.
He saw slavery, but he did not see slavery at its worst. He was taught about slavery by slave owners, and of course they polished it up a bit. So he had a distorted view of slavery, but he thought it was just a matter of 10 or 15 more years, slavery was going to end on its own, but the war should never have been fought over slavery.
He was the second highest ranking officer, and he didn't really get on the side of we have to have the slaves not be slaves anymore. It was more that you are going to divide the country, and as long as the Constitution is concerned, we are one United States.
The Union was all important to him. He pledged to support the Constitution no matter what. So I think those are the things that drove him during the war.
We are what we are today because of this man. His contribution to the war went a great deal towards ending slavery and also preserving our Union because of the taking of Atlanta. About half of Lancaster thought that what he did in the South was very inappropriate. But whenever he came back, he was always treated with respect.
They often had speeches and some sort of a celebration, but this was not where he was going to make his home. When Lee surrendered, the community came together. Everybody celebrated together. The war was over. When Lincoln was assassinated, the whole community came together again to grieve. That helped pull the community back together. I think that things mellowed out a bit. It took the race relations longer to heal than other things because of the Southern, the Confederate leaning here in the city. But I do think that it became more of an undercurrent and not a boiling point.